welcome to another episode of Unpacking Love. I'm so excited to be coming in hot with a new episode to you guys about Love is Blind Season 4. And today we've got Wale in the house. Wale, what's going on?
Woo, woo, woo. Hi, I'm fabulous. I'm amazing. I'm fantastic. I'm super happy to be here. I'm excited to talk about Love is Blind.
I am excited to talk about Love is Blind with you. So, for everybody who's listening, in case you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, I didn't watch Love is Blind. You can definitely hang tight and still be with us because we're going to be talking about the themes that came up that are very much applicable even in real life. This is a reality show, of course, but these lessons that we picked up are actually applicable to real life. So you can stay. And then, of course, for all my people who watch Love is Blind, it's going to be fun because we're going to be throwing in some tea and some, thoughts on what unfolded in season 4. So definitely excited to be doing this episode right now. So, of course, Wale, we have to start with our favorites of this season, Tiffany and Brett. Tiffany and Brett. And I'm going to say that the theme that I wanted to bring up here, especially when we talk about Tiffany, is, people always talk about how what's yours is yours and God will make things happen for you in his right time, right?
100%.
This girl really made me believe this because for those of you who did watch Love is Blind, you saw when this girl fell asleep in the pods. And can I say, when this girl fell asleep in the pods, I was like, the people from her original village are working very hard for her not to get this man.
Over time, whoever is working in her village, they need a raise. They need a raise. Oh, boy.
I'm telling you. I said, my girl, how are you going to fall asleep when this man is literally in the middle of confessing his love for you? And the thing with Brett as well is he had spoken about how he grew up in this family where, they weren't they loved each other, of course, but they weren't vocal about it. And here's this man, he's really putting his chest out there to you. He's really telling you what's on his chest, on his heart, telling you he loves you. And then you fall asleep. So I think if there's one thing I learned is that, you know what? If God says something is yours, guys, it is yours. You can fall asleep and this man will still be there.
You cannot do anything to mess up the will of God. Like, that's it. Like,
come
period.
on, somebody.
Like, period. Because he was so salty. He was just like, what happened? Like, he obviously, realized that she fell asleep on him. And she didn't do it maliciously, but, that was, wild. Like, out of nowhere, you fall asleep, you're a narcoleptic. Like, what is that? But, he obviously was like, I still love this girl, even though she falls asleep, when I'm professing my love.
I'm telling you. I mean, it's kind of funny too, because I think from our perspective as viewers, we obviously don't see the hours of dates that go into this, right? So we don't know actually how long they'd been speaking. But the fact that we did get to see the fact that this girl had knocked out, it took me out. I was like, wow, wow, this is wild. Something else that I learned was that, and Tiffany said it herself, right? When she was preparing for her wedding, she was crying and she's like, now it all makes sense. All the heartbreak that she went through was leading her to this point because she's genuinely so happy with this person. And I'm like, wow, how many times have people settled, oh, you're in a relationship and it's so bad, but you're like, you know what, this is the best I got. And then here's this woman who's, she's 36 and she's still hoping and believing for love, and then the perfect man comes. Like, wow.
Honestly, I really love their story, and it really reminds me of Lauren and Cameron, just because I feel like they went on the show for genuine intentions. They wanted to meet their partner and they wanted to get married. Obviously, Tiffany's a gorgeous woman. I have no doubt that she has gone out on dates. She's done all the things, done the apps, done the dating websites, probably even had a matchmaker. I feel like she's done all of it. And I feel like she went into this being I'm just gonna give it my all. And I wanna go in it with the purest of intentions. I wanna meet the man of my dreams who I'm gonna marry, who I'm gonna settle down and have a family with. And so I really loved how she was just so they were both emotional. Even Brett, even though it was very dramatic, him going to the seamstress to go and get his pants tailored. But there was something about it, it's so dramatic because, like, why did you not try on your
Right?
like?
He was a groomzilla at
I
the
was
end of the day.
I was so confused. I was just like, "Oh boy, why didn't you try this on like a day, two before this wedding?" Like, I'm so confused. But like you could tell like from like the emotions, like the jitters before like the wedding, like before the actual ceremony, you could tell that they were really just like loved each other. And like from a lot of things that I've heard from people who are married, who are settled in their relationships, is that like, it feels like if you have like those jitters, like
Mhm.
that, like you're doing the right thing. And I also want to make this own caveat that like if you don't have the jitters and like you're just a calm, collected person, that doesn't mean that like it's not gonna work.
Well, it's like I'm not trying to scare people here, right?
I just want to say before like somebody comes from my throat. But I could picture myself, like, being, like, in the same shoes, like, you wanna get married for, like, the right reasons, and, like, you're just, like, you're nervous about, like, what the future holds for you guys, and I just think that I really believe, like, I believe in God, and I believe in God having a plan for each and every one of us, and I just feel like this was God's plan for Tiffany and Brett, and it was just really lovely to just see them, like, get married and just, like, despite, like, all the odds and the narcolepsia or whatever the word is, that they ended up together, like, happily married, and, like, honestly, like, I'm rooting for Black love.
No, honestly, they really were like a beautiful couple. And I think Brett is a year younger than her. I think he's 35, right? So it's just beautiful to see mature love. And I think this is something that I actually struggle with when I watch a show like Love is Blind or Married at First Sight. And you have people who are like 24 trying to get married to someone who they haven't seen, or like to get engaged to somebody they haven't seen, right? Because it's like, what's going on? Like, I honestly feel like if you're 23, like you can be out there, you can actually, you have time, to like go on the dating apps and you can do all these things. So that's why I feel like sometimes when people are super young and they go on these shows, I tend to question their reasons, right, for being on the show.
100%. And I'm so happy to finally like meet someone that like agrees with me. I think that it's pretty wild to be getting married under the age of like 28. And I still think that the age 28 is still like pretty young. I think that it's like very wild because you know that there's also the show on Netflix, The Ultimatum, and all of those couples were in their early 20s. And I just thought, like, for me, I know that there are a lot of I want to just I have a few friends who because of religious reasons, because of faith, like they got married early, like they cut out like they weren't having sex, like they weren't out there dipping their toes and doing like what us sinful folks do. I mean I wouldn't know because I'm not a sinful folk, but like they're out there, like, they're not out there being promiscuous. So like they just settled down like quite early, like they were very serious about like their intentions to get married, but like they knew that pretty young that they wanted to get married at a young age. I personally think that the I personally think that life, I feel like when you meet the one, for instance, like Brett and Tiffany, when you meet the one like at that age, you've lived life.
Come on.
You've gone out, you've traveled, you've danced on top of tables, you've gotten like you've gotten somebody random's like number at the club. Like you've done all of the things and you've gone out because the prayer, if the prayer really is to meet that one person and to be with that person until the day in which like you die. And
Right.
that is like that, you but then you would have had like a life of like you've experienced all these things, and now like you're moving into a chapter where it's just like, no, like I'm with this person, I'm with this person only. You don't
Hmm.
have like any thoughts of like curiosity, but then again they say like curiosity never goes away. But like I feel like you've lived a certain life and you've seen what you need to see. The people that I hear like when they get married so young, I can tell between the people that will get divorced and the people who are in it to like the day in which like they breathe their last breath. And the one thing is that I know that people say is that when a couple says, "I just couldn't picture my life, like, doing, like, life without them, like, I didn't need to search anymore," those are the couples that I know, like, are meant to stay together. There are the other couples who are like, we've been dating since high school, and then we were dating in college, and like, where are we going? Like, who you are like in college and who you are like in the real world are two different people. Like, I just don't know. And I hate to be like this, but like, it's women that's usually like count the years. Women are usually the ones that are counting the years, like, we've been together for so X amount of years, like, where's my ring? And it's just like, okay, like, you get the ring, and then it's just like, but is this who you want to be with? Is this who you see yourself like in your 50s being like, looking back and being like, oh, I made the right decision?
I think you bring up really good points, right? I am definitely with you in saying that, like, some people, and people can get married at whatever age they want to get married at,
Yeah.
right? I think my only thing is, if you are going to decide to get married, whether it's at 23 or it's at 30 or it's at 35 or 40, that you've really like thought about what marriage means. Because I think there are a lot of
Hmm.
people who just don't know what it means to actually say I do to somebody. And that's how, we end up having divorce rates that are over 50%, right? Because people are just jumping into this on a like, oh my gosh, I really love this person, but you haven't really thought through things. So I don't have a problem with people getting married young. I don't have a problem with it. I just think people need to know what they're getting into before they get into it. I do have a problem though when these young folks are on these shows getting married to people they do not know, right? And they're getting married to people who they don't know, or getting engaged to, at least, well, okay, you know what? At least Love is Blind is better because you get engaged, but you can always back out at the old time. Like, you know what? I can't do this. But then
Yeah.
these are the shows where you marry someone and it's like you have your whole life to live, right? I mean, you still have so many years, right? If you're 22 and you're going on
Yeah.
these shows, you could have done this at like 30. I'm not saying that 30 is the right age to now put yourself out
Yeah.
there on TV, but like I do think that there's something to be said about Tiffany and Brett's story, where it's like you can tell that these people, they have, been in relationships. They just haven't decided to settle with anyone in the past. And now at this point, they're like, you know what? I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm so sure I want to be with someone. I'm going to give this a try and really go in with an open mind of I could meet somebody, right? Who could, who I
Hmm.
could do life with. So yeah, I know we dwelt on Tiffany and Brett for a long time, but I think this was a very, very good thing to bring up. And I also want to say, talking about Brett, I think something that came up was how he was worried, or like he was worried slash fearful um about this whole getting married thing, because his brother unfortunately passed away just after he got engaged or something, and these people had been together for like so many years, and so he was really worried and he was fearful of that. I think, it just made me think about how our past can influence, right? Like things that have happened in the past can influence how we go about making decisions. And of course, to each their own. That's something that was very traumatic that he went through. But it just made me realize that, and the upbringing you had, like what he was saying, that like they didn't grow up really saying, I love you, I love you. So it can be hard for someone who did not grow up saying, I love you to their parents to now start saying, I love you to you so much, right? Or if someone went through something traumatic where their brother was ready to get married to someone and then they passed away, that could influence them. So I would also say, like, I think Tiffany did a really good job of loving him, because at the end of the day he did say he wanted to be with her. But I think there's a grace that you have to extend to someone, and to acknowledge that people have different paths and people have different upbringings to yours.
I agree with you on that. Like, I totally think that I really loved how, like, I just really loved them as a couple, but I really love how you talked about, like, the grace, like, in our time. I just feel like, and I don't want to be like, sound old or whatever. I'm just 27. But, like, I feel like in our time, like, everyone's looking for that perfect person, like, that perfect person to, like, go on Instagram with and post pictures with or post TikToks with. And like, we don't like want to give people grace for the fact that like this person has lived a completely different life from me. Even if like we could have gone to like the same type of school or grew up in the same type of neighborhood, like you have no idea like what transpired behind closed doors that they would have seen. And for like the most part, like they very much Tiffany and Brett are very compatible, like both successful, doing well in their careers and everything like that. And it's just like you wouldn't have known like he would have like suffered that trauma of losing his brother if he hadn't opened up his mouth. Like people would have been like, oh, like this man is like so good looking, like he has a good job, like he has a great place. Like why
Right.
isn't he married? And it's just like you just never know, like, in that part of, like, getting to know someone, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
for her to, like, get to know him and not be afraid of that and to give him grace and to be like, "You know what? Like, I understand that, like, he has this trauma, and I'm willing to walk through this journey of life with him, knowing that this is going to be something that is always gonna be at, like, the back of his mind, that he's, like, he's afraid he's gonna lose me or I'll lose him, but I'm willing to dive
Mm-hmm.
in with this man and love him regardless.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that was very solid. And I absolutely love the fact that you said, it's good that he said it, because also I feel like sometimes people have things they've experienced in the past, right? That now I'm not saying that you should put all your cards out there the moment you meet someone. You tell them everything, your deepest, darkest secrets. No,
No.
that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying though is, if you have, let's say for example, you're with someone who loves words of affirmation, that's their love language, and they're always saying, "Oh, you don't know how to love me correctly. I've told you so many times that words of affirmation is my love language," right? If you don't open your mouth and say, I really struggle giving words of affirmation because I didn't grow up getting words of affirmation, right? Then that
Mm,
person just has to, they'll keep fighting a battle with you. And meanwhile, inside your heart that the reason why you can't do this is because of how you grew up, which is why, in relationships, you should feel comfortable to like at least open up to someone and let them know why you struggle with certain things, right? Because, if you grew up a certain way, it's hard to just change in an instant
mm,
because you're now with someone who wants something from you. Cool, cool,
yeah.
cool. I think this is all good stuff. So I'm excited. So now let us bring some chaos to the house. Let's talk about Jackie, Marshall, and Josh. And so for people who did not watch Love is Blind, there was this girl. Let me do my best to describe her. I honestly feel like when I looked at her, I was like, oh wow, this girl is like, she's not even like, she's not, oh, I'll tell her this girl's beautiful. I'd be like, wow, this is a baddie. That's what I thought. I was like, wow, look at her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I was
Exactly.
like, wow, look at her. But when I tell you, this woman turned out to be something else. A whole different, I don't know, use the word beast, but a whole different person,
Ah,
right? Throughout the season. It ended up just being drama. So anyway, so she was in the
she was
pods and
Delilah, and Marshall was lucky that she didn't cut off his hair in the middle of the night. She was Delilah. Ay, 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 ay.
he's lucky that she didn't cut his hair. Oh my goodness, that is
Af-
funny.
after God, fear women. That's it. That's literally it. After God, fear women. Like that's literally like I actually don't know what else to say but that.
Yo, no, honestly, me being a woman, I can actually say, you know what? If we do look at the Jackie situation, I can see why men would say fear women. So anyway, this girl, she's in these pods, and she falls in love with two people, essentially, or gets a strong connection with two people. One of them, and these men are very different, right? And this is Love is Blind, so these people, they don't see each other prior to the point when like they've gotten engaged, and then that's when they meet. So anyway, they're very different personality wise. Marshall is this, honestly, Marshall's the real MVP. Anyway, Marshall is a sweetheart. He's so loving, he's so caring. He's a guy who's in touch with his feelings. He's an emotional person, and he's not afraid to say his feelings to somebody, essentially, right? Like get
Mm.
it out of his heart and through his mouth to the person that he's speaking to. And then there's Josh, and Josh is your typical like bad boy. That's just my read on him. Is he's like your bad boy who's like, oh, I wouldn't even say like macho, because they're
He's
made more
a bad
macho.
boy. He's your typical bad boy.
Yes, let's leave
You're
it
the
at that.
you're up late checking his phone. You're trying to see like who's in his DM, who's
Yes,
he's texting. You're looking at his follower count. Like he's a bad boy. And it's fine. Like it's fine. Like that's what
yes.
she like at the end of the day.
Yeah, so he's a bad boy, and I love how you describe it. Honestly, he's the type where like, um, honestly, he would hit you up like, "You up?" Like that type of guy. Like, "You up?" and Marshall would be the one to be like, oh, thank you so much for staying up late to speak to me. Like, he's a very sweet, gentle guy. Very different men. Okay, so she falls in love with both of them. And in Love Is Blind, the men live in like one spot and the women live in one spot. So like if people are vocal about who they're liking or whatever, everyone would know who likes who. So anyway, Marshall, essentially Jackie tells Marshall that, you know what, I have a connection with another person, blah, blah, blah. And then Marshall decides to pretty much like tell Josh that he is in love with her, right? Anyway, that's all fair and fine. Jackie decides to go with Marshall. Marshall is the sweet guy. And honestly, can I just say that Marshall is a sweetheart, guys. Like, he's a gentle guy. I mean, throughout the season, we saw him making pancakes. This girl, like I said, she was a baddie in the beginning, but she turned out to be just crazy. Literally, like crazy. Okay, there was crazy stuff happening. This girl is like rude to him. Like, I get it. People go through stuff, right? People go through stuff in life. I get it. But the way that she was treating him was not nice. Like, I can get when you're like, you know what, can you just give me some space? But the way she would snap at him, I was like, wow, this man is only trying to love you. And it's almost like the love that he's giving you is irritating you so much that you're lashing out at him. So one thing that I picked up from this whole situation with Jackie is, and you know what, Wale, let me know what you think about this, right? I think
Mm.
that sometimes trying something that's outside of your type can be bad.
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Her type is a bad boy, and she knows that her type is a bad boy. She goes with this sweet guy. She knows the guy is sweet, right? So the reason why I'm saying that it can be bad is because now what ended up happening was she was with this, guy who's in touch with his feelings and stuff. But she actually called him, like on one of the clips that we watched. She literally said, like, can you man up? Which is so horrible because you knew this whole time that this person is an emotional person. And just because someone is emotional does not mean that they're not man enough. So I feel like for you to emasculate somebody because they are just who they are and they're like, open with their emotions with you, that was just horrible. So that's why I want to say that, you know what, sometimes trying something outside of your type is not a good thing, especially if it's not going to work out, which is what happened here. And you know what? We actually saw this with Mallory and Sal, right? Because there was Sal and then there was, what
Mm.
was that other guy's name in season 2? The guy who ended up marrying Iana, Jared, right? Jared was a man's man.
Yes.
And Sal was a sweet guy. He's playing his ukulele, he's singing for you, he's doing all this stuff, which is great. But this girl, who's Mallory, right, had always dated like the sportsman, like the man's man, like macho, like a
Yeah.
man who's just like, like super, 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 like not so touchy feeling or like on the
Yeah.
extreme masculine side, right? This is a
Mm.
repeat. Jackie picks somebody who is not her emotional type. And then she ends up hurting this guy who did not deserve that. So I think that's what I want to say is that, you know what? Honestly, kudos to Marshall for loving someone despite their flaws. But Jackie was just horrible to him. And he honestly didn't deserve this. He was such a good guy. And what I will say though, is something I learned from Marshall is you need to know your worth, right? Because
100%.
he didn't take it. Like when she was like, oh, you need to man up, I think that's when he then left her for 3 days or something like that. But
Yeah.
he knew his worth and what he was going to tolerate and what he wasn't going to tolerate. But I also appreciate Marshall for sticking through because even at the reunion, something he brought up was that he feels like she robbed him of the opportunity to actually, get a chance to either say I do or I don't at the altar, right? And he seems like
Mm.
somebody who was like, he really put his heart out there. He really actually wanted to find love on this show and he just got the bad end of the stick. So that's my 2 cents on this. How about you, Wale? Let us know.
I agree, and then I'm gonna have a hot take in the middle of this, but I
Okay.
agree. I feel no, Jackie was like so wrong for that. And here's the thing, like I'll give her some grace in the sense where I think that her her type is very much a bad guy.
Yes.
However, I feel like she had been burnt in the past so much that she was just like, like it's not gonna work out. Let me give this guy like a shot. But when you go on this show and you clearly have like a connection with two extremes, because it's two extremes. It's one is hot and one is cold.
Right.
I feel like you should have gone. I feel like she should have gone with Josh.
Right.
More importantly, when she met Marshall, like, for the first time, like, okay, like, I think that she should have taken the ring to be, like, polite, but then when they got to the honeymoon, she should have called it quits. And I feel like that's, like, where things, like, really went wrong because she knew physically and, like, physically at that point, she was not attracted to this man.
What? Is that what you think?
100%. They look like Josh and Marshall look like two different dudes. And I say this because I relate more with like Marshall on a lot of things because I'm more softer. I'm more like into my feelings. So when she said like man up, I took offense on Marshall's behalf as well too cuz like I felt like I could never be with someone who ever disrespected me that way because you met me and you knew who I was and how I was and the type of person that I am for you to go out of like because like you're mad or like you're upset about a situation for you to talk out of the side of your mouth to disrespect me that way, yeah, like I just don't see like a future for us. And I wish that Marshall, when he had gotten back from like his 3 day sabbatical, I wish he would have like just been like, yeah, like I'm done, like I'm leaving you. I wish it hadn't been like, I wish it hadn't been like, oh, like he was trying to make it work because I also feel like Marshall like hurt his own feelings because this woman, you can clearly tell like this woman does not want to be with you. You can clearly tell like this is not his like Jackie is not the first Jackie that he's met. If that
Oh,
makes any
wow.
sense. He has met like I've met Jackies in the past. Like this is not the first Jackie that you like when you are there are all different types and shapes of man and I happen to fall in the category of like a Marshall. And I just want to say, like, we have encountered Jackies like across the board for like, like there could be like one sweet girl, but like we've encountered 20 Jackies. So like he's already encountered a Jackie. Like he already knows what she's like, what time she's on. The fact that like when he saw her, like when they were at the mixer and she was entertaining a conversation with Josh, you should have known like at that point like you know what time you're like this girl is on, you should have ended things. But I get it, like everyone wants to get to the altar and like have that moment of like, you know what, like I don't want to marry you, like it doesn't seem like I'm your type, like I'm gonna walk away from this. There was clearly like no like attraction like there from her on her side. On his side he was very attracted to her, like I'm attracted to her. That's just like that girl just is not like you weren't her type. And that's okay. It's okay to not be somebody's type. But like the way in which like Jackie like went about things was very wrong. Like she obviously what she was doing, in my opinion, was that she was doing things for him to like want to break it off. At the end of the day, he
Mm.
like it mutually like they broke it off or like he broke it off or whatever. But what she was doing was very immature and she should have just been like she should have just been like, hey, like you're like you know for a fact because Josh is your type. We found out from the reunion that they are still together. This is a year later. This is clearly like your type. This is clearly who you want to be with. You should have just like been like, you know what? You're a great guy. I really had like a connection with you. We bonded through this experience, this rare experience that only very few people in this world will ever have. Like I have love for you because of that, but I don't have love for you in the regard that like I want to marry you. And like I'm just so sorry. And like that would have been a lot kinder. One of the things that I really hate about like Love is Blind is that because obviously it's because like it's on television, like people start to turn up. But like you can just be like a human and just say like, you know, this just isn't for me. Like you remember first season that couple with the bisexual man.
Oh, the one with diamonds. The one with diamonds. Yes.
Yes. And they broke things off like at on the honeymoon. And like to be honest with you, that girl had like way too much going on in her life. Like he deserved better. I mean, like they both deserved better because like the way in which like he reacted to her not being like oh like not being sure of like dating like or marrying a bisexual man, like I think that they both like reacted in like ways that were like very immature. But like when you have like the cameras on you, like you just want to turn up, like you want to be famous so bad. And I just feel like at the end of the day, like you guys are regular people. I feel like it would be more appropriate if you had just like taken each other aside. Like the cameras are not there 24/7. Like in the middle of the night, just been like, yeah, like this is just not gonna work. Like I'm gonna go sleep on the couch tomorrow. We'll figure this out. But like this
Mhm.
isn't gonna work. No, like they were having sex. Like they were
Wait,
not
were
having.
they not? I thought they were, but the thing is that she wanted them to be aggressive. That's what he said. He was like, I'm
He
just not gonna
wasn't
do
like
that.
they were. He. I think that they eventually had sex, but like in those first couple of nights, I had a conversation with a friend, and she was just like, no, like I don't think like I would be comfortable having sex with someone like right off the bat. But like, here's the thing: like, I feel like we've had this emotional connection. I'm more of an emotional kind of person, so we've had this emotional connection. Like, I'm ready to take each other's clothes off. Like,
Ah!
let's fuck.
Oh my gosh.
And like, they did not do that. I feel like the couples that don't have sex, like as soon as like they hit the honeymoon suite, I feel like that's a red flag.
But the thing
I
is
feel like
though,
that's a red flag.
no, but if you remember, he was like, "Should we have sex before we get married?" She was like, "Yeah, of course we're going to have sex before we get married." So to me, I didn't take it that Jackie was not attracted to Marshall like physically. I think that because he was a more on the soft side and more emotional, that then changed like, okay, maybe I do think you're good looking, but at the end of the day, do I maybe she felt like
Do
she wanted to
I
like.
want to like? Do I want to make babies with you? No, that's
Exactly.
not what she wanted. That's not what she
Exactly.
wanted. She could
Yeah.
think that he's in a she could think that there's a difference. She could think that he's a good-looking guy, like he's a well put together guy, like he's a good-looking guy. Like I think that everyone like is like and everyone in America that watched or like all around the world, like everyone can admit like there's nothing wrong with his appearance. It's just that she's just not attracted to this. She's like physically, she's not like let these cameras turn off. I'm taking your clothes off. So like those text messages that came out, like she was like, "Oh, he's not aggressive enough for me." Like, sis, you didn't want to bring that side out of him. There's an aggressive side on every man. You just need to pull it out of him. And that girl did not want to pull it out of him. She didn't want to be with him. I don't even want to like, and it was lame. She didn't even go to the reunion. So Marshall didn't even get like his just due to like be like to have like a conversation. But at the same time, like we're playing it like Marshall's like the victim, Marshall's the victim to some extent. But like you know better. Like Marshall, like you know better. Let's not act like you don't know you don't know like a woman where like she could be like, oh, like let's be serious. Like you could tell like there are women who are like, yeah, like I wanna like they want to take your clothes off right now. And there are women who are like, yeah, like I just want to be your friend. And you knew better.
Oh man, that was a hot take. That was a hot take. I think that Jackie is a toxic girl at the end of the day. I feel like
Oh,
she's toxic. She's toxic and she is used to toxicity. There's some people who are so used to toxicity that that's where she functions. You know what I mean?
a
Like she
hundred percent.
cannot have somebody show her love the way that this man was. Honestly, everybody who was watching, who would not want a man who wakes up, makes you pancakes before you go to work, and does all these things? He's checking on you, like how you do it. Like, what? Are you crazy?
Jackie!
I am
Jackie!
telling you.
There are many Jackies out there. This one girl one time, I'll never forget. She told me, she was like, you're not the type of guy that I would date, but like you're the type of guy like that I would marry because like you're a good guy. But I'm really just trying to date like a bad boy. And I
Oh
just
man.
thought like, what?
People say some crazy stuff out there.
I feel like I literally just like ever since that I've carried that with me. Like I just always I mean, I feel like in my older age, which is not old, I feel like I've like tried to like look at life like a lot differently, like not like to hold on to that. But I'm just like I feel for Marshall because it's just like he's a nice guy. Like a bunch of the girls on my timeline is like, I would marry you, Marshall. Like I want to marry you, Marshall. Like 100%. Like they want to marry us, but like they don't want to date us. Like they're not like they want to settle down and have kids with us, but like you have to date me in order to like settle down and have kids. So like pick
Mm.
one. Like, do you want to have like it very much like Josh is very toxic. Like it's only toxicity that will cause you to go and pull another man's fiance to sit down and have a conversation while he's like 10 feet away from you. Like it's like he's toxic, she's toxic. They probably had screaming matches and fights like every couple has, but like they love that shit. They get off on that shit. That's like what has like solidified that's what solidified their relationship, and they love it, and they love it there. And you know what? Let it be. Let it run. I'm gonna let it
Hmm.
run. I feel like there's no way. Like I just feel like there's just no way. And that's why like my hot take was that Marshall, like, he had to have known, like, you're not an idiot, like, you had to have known. You just wanna, like, play it, like, somehow for the cameras, but deep down inside, you knew better and, like, you didn't do better.
Snap, man. I mean, at least somebody had to say it. This whole time, I've really just looked at Marshall as like, I think I still do. I still see him as like, man. At the end of the day, especially the breakup conversation, right? The breakup conversation, she was like, bro, like, I don't want you. Like, I was like, man, you're calling this man bro. And she was like, oh, I just, like, and I think there was one time they had come from the party and he was trying to have a conversation with her. And that's when she was like, bro, can you just leave me? I just want to sleep. I was like, wow, ah, you're wicked. You are wicked.
Very wicked, very wicked.
Let us now talk about Irina. When we watch Irina, number one, that something that I will say is love is not blind. Okay. I am so tired of
100%.
people trying to downplay physical attraction. Physical attraction might not be everything, but physical attraction is a key ingredient. I don't care what you say. Like you
It's
need,
literally the sugar to the cake. It's literally the
yes.
sugar to the cake. Like I don't know what else anyone. And what I was trying to say earlier was like about, and it's great that you segue into it. The reason why, and I feel like people want to be like, love really is blind from like season one because of Lauren and Cameron. But the thing is, the caveat to that is that they're actually really both good-looking human beings. Like love is blind, baby. Love is in fact blind. But it just so happens that once the veil was lifted, you saw you see fine babe, you see fine boy.
Stop
Why not? They did it first night, Michelle.
it.
They did it first night. They couldn't keep their hands off of each other. Love is not blind.
Yes. So let it be very clear that love is not blind. Okay. Now, Irina was horrible. I have never seen anyone treat someone so terribly. You can meet someone who you're not physically attracted to, but you should treat someone like a human being. The way that Irina treated Zach was absolutely ridiculous. It was horrible. It was terrible. And nobody deserves that. And as much as you're not physically attracted to someone, you can be a human and just tell them, like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm really struggling on the physical attraction side. And there's a way of saying it because obviously we also know from what was it, season two, there was the whole Shake drama where he was horrible, like even in the pods, like the way he would talk about this physical attraction thing. So there's a way of saying it. So that's number one. Love is not blind. So people should stop pretending like love is blind because it is not at the end of the day. It is not. And you know what? If you are with somebody, I feel like you need to have that. Now, I'm not saying you would do it, right? But I'm saying like you have to feel that like you want to jump their bones sometimes. Like you're just like, oh, like
Yes.
there has to be that thing in you that's like, wow, this person, they set something on fire. Now I'm not saying that it always starts with physical attraction because there's some people where it's like, you've been friends for a while, and then the more you get to know somebody as a friend, they might actually the external starts to change, and then you do feel like there's a spark that then, now when you do see this person, as much as you love their inside, their outside is also something that makes you want to pounce at points. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, what I was gonna say with the conversation I was having with my cousin was, I was like, Irina just went on Love is Blind to be on TV.
Yeah.
With everybody else, they were trying to find love. It just so happened to be on TV. With Irina, she was like, how do I get on TV? And then the option, or like the thing that then presented itself to her, was to be on Love is Blind. So she went on TV because that was the goal. And then it so happened
Mm.
that in the process of that, she was trying to find love, quote unquote. The way she treated Zach was horrible. How do you call someone a cartoon? How do you treat someone so poorly? She was just a horrible person. And I absolutely love the fact that, even at the reunion, they did bring it up, this whole villain thing of, she
Mm.
was a really mean girl. Even in the pods, she was laughing at people who were going through heartbreak. This girl was just horrible. Even the fact that she was now attracted to Paul, who was her pod's best friend's
Man,
fiance. She's just a mess. Everything about her is a mess, right? And also, I will say, at the reunion, her apology was not sincere at all. She did not. I mean, I applaud her for going on the show to pretty much take the heat. And because honestly, if I was the one in that situation, would I have gone on for the reunion? Maybe I'd have hit a Jackie and Josh. Like, we're just not gonna show up, right? So I do like applaud her for going on TV. It's not an easy thing when especially after the internet had come after her. Nobody had anything good to say about that girl, right? So I do applaud her for
yeah.
going there. But it felt like she was just there to defend herself. She didn't even apologize to Zach sincerely. So I do think she's just a horrible person. I'm sorry to say. And she has a lot of work that she needs to do.
I agree with a lot of like your take, but I'm gonna say something that's gonna be like very like mean. And I feel like a lot of people want to say it, but like they're not, and I'll be the one to say it. That girl has some damn nerve to be talking about how Zach looked. Zach was not an ugly guy. Like he didn't look like a cartoon. I'm like very confused. That girl was very insecure because she was not pretty like at all. Like I just really was very lost. That's why I said it was gonna be mean. I was so lost at like why this girl like I mean one should obviously hold themselves in like high esteem, but then I also think that like you should know like you should use sense and gauge it. Like I just don't think that she had that like going for her at all. Like I think that I'm the bee's knees. I think that I'm the best thing since sliced bread. But put me in a room with like one of the what are these brothers? What are these brothers? The brothers, the one that was married to Miley Cyrus. Put me in a room with these boys. I'm gonna go sit in another room. I'm trying to think of like put me at the bar with Usher. I'm not standing next to Usher. Like I'm gonna go sit in the corner at my table and like pray for the best, but he's in the club. So don't know what else to say. But like I just feel this girl like did not use sense like at all because of all the babes that were there, like there were fine babes. There were fine babes. And none of them opened their mouths to say such dirty things. I think like Micah kind of, but like none of them like ever opened up their mouth to say like anything about like looks of anyone or whatever. And it was just like very shocking to me that this is coming out of this girl's mouth. I just thought like you're a nasty human being. But more importantly, like again with the maturity level of people like on TV or on the show, I just was wondering like what was going through her mind that like at least she could have faked it to the altar. Like I'm happy that she didn't because then Zach was able to go to Bliss and they were like able to get married. They're still married. They're very happy. Like that's great. Like all things like begin to reveal themselves. But like the way in which she went about it was so immature. Like she like again, like you see the guy, it's not for you. Your panties aren't wet, it's not for you. You should have just like again, night one, as soon as you arrive at the hotel or as soon as you guys get on the shuttle to go to like the honeymoon, it's done. Let the producers know, like, it's not for you. Because, like, the way in which you were acting, like, you weren't going to see it through.
Right.
You didn't even want the fame that much to see it through. And the guy's not a bad looking guy. So, like, I just feel like, where was that? It's all coming out of an insecurity that you have of, like, yourself. So, like, that's just very confusing to me. The other thing is that, like, Irina and Micah, they're both nonsense girls. The fact that, like, Irina had the gall to now say to her quote unquote bestie that that she was like attracted to her bestie's fiance, and then she was trying to pawn off her ex fiance onto Micah, like to do a swap, because that's what she was trying to do. And the producers, like, they're messy as fuck because they got the clip of her, like, rubbing, like, Paul's like foot or something. Paul's nasty. Paul's a nasty man as well too because he likes to rub up on bridesmaids and he's getting rubbed up on by the friends. He has no moral like boundaries or common sense. So like all of that, like it was just like it was all a mess. I think it was just all a mess, and like her coming on, like what else was she gonna say? Like her apology was never gonna be sincere. Her apology was never gonna be sincere. I don't know like what we expected out of her. I just think that she came on thinking that she was the shit, and it was just like no, and like they sat her next to Chelsea, and I was just like, you don't see yourself. Like that babe's bad. Like you don't see yourself. Like I just felt like I think back to it like the comments, and I just think like that's just so. I'm like I just hope like people don't think I'm superficial, but like I just feel like it shouldn't have come out of you.
No, you're right. And you know what? We saw what was that? One of the couples, I think it's season 2. The guy who was sweating so much at the altar, I thought he was gonna say no. And what was the name? Danielle or something. But anyway, Danielle was someone who was insecure because I think she said that in the past, she used to be bigger and then she had lost weight and that had affected her a lot. So she was
And she
insecure about
wasn't
it.
even that
And
big.
and the thing is, she was such a sweet person, right? So I think, like, even when we think about why Zach even went with Irina, when they were having conversations in the pods, Irina really played on that, like, I had acne, I had a lot of people judge me. So she drew
Yeah.
this picture or painted this picture of like, this is something that I struggle. Maybe that was a tactic, actually. Maybe this girl is actually a narcissist. Like, she's not insecure. She is like on the narcissistic side. And what she uses to like lure you in is this whole,
Yeah.
you know what? Like, I struggled and people judge me. People
Mhm.
misunderstand me. And I remember when they're in the pods, Bliss was like to Zach, if you pick Irina, I'm just gonna know that there's something wrong with your judge of like the way that you judge characters. And for
Yeah.
Zach to then pick Irina was kind of like, obviously the connection that they had and the things that this girl had said had made him see her in a whole different light, which maybe sidebar. Can we talk about how sometimes you need to believe what people tell you about somebody? Because if someone is telling you that there is a side of this girl that you're not seeing that I'm seeing. Okay, maybe Zach thought that, oh, you know what? This is a conflict of interest. Obviously, Bliss is trying to get me. And so she's going to,
Girls are being
but
catty.
yeah, but then at the
Yeah.
same time, though, you're not seeing this girl in the light that everybody else is seeing her, right? Anyway, let me circle back to the whole
Yeah.
Micah thing so we can, finish this whole trio with Micah, Irina, and Paul. And I guess we'll put in Zach
Yeah.
later. But I totally think that the host handled the whole thing wrong with Micah. Vanessa was clearly biased towards Micah, would not call her out on
Yes.
the crazy stuff that she did. That girl, Micah, is definitely a mean girl. We saw her laughing with Irina the whole time, number one. And
Mhm.
she's not the victim. I'm sorry, she's not. You know what
She's
I
not.
mean?
And like people like they want to play because you know what, like Paul didn't do himself any he didn't do himself any favors by smacking that girl's ass on the to lie. He didn't do himself any favors by smacking that bridesmaid's ass. Which he said like he didn't do, like he was trying to shush her out of the way. That girl was nowhere close to him, nowhere in the way.
He was
Just say
like,
you just
actually, this
wanted
is
to
what he
grab her
said.
ass.
This is what he said. He was like, no, the thing is that it was like a tap to say, hey, I'm sorry I bumped into you. What? How did that? What? Man, sir, own up to what you did. But I still
Right
think that
on
Paul,
her
I
ass.
actually, I actually still think that Paul's a sweet guy. In my opinion, there's some people who are like, oh no, he's
I
not.
don't
I
think.
think
I think he was nasty, and they deserved each other.
Micah was a horrible person who was not called out on her actions. That's number one. In terms of being a
Yeah.
mean girl. Another thing is Vanessa was pressing Paul, which she was pushing P. She was pushing P, which she didn't need to be doing because Micah was the problem. Because why was she not called out on the fact that she was trying to cause drama for Kwame and Chelsea? She wasn't called out on that stuff, which she clearly did. So you know what? Micah's the problem, and actually, you guys can tell that I didn't like it. She was on my I do not like people list.
100%. She was not a nice girl. Her and Irina are one and the same. they were one and the same, and so it's just like it was funny how like they were quote unquote besties just to stab each other in the back. Like it's just like that's just like if there's anything to talk about like friendship, like that's why women are so afraid to be like friends with other women because like they'll just stab you in the back and try to steal your man, and they'll do it while smiling at you, like right there in the room. But I just wanted to go back to Paul. I think that the ass smacking thing that was funny. But I think that when we found out like later about like Micah like wanting to be a mom and like that was like what she talked about, like I think that like it's very true that like he didn't see like a mother, like
Hmm.
he just didn't see like a nurturing spirit or like a mother like in this woman for his children. That's like fine. I just feel like he could have held that back to himself. Like, you know, like
But
when
they
you end a
pressed him
relationship,
though. But they pressed him. They were like,
no, he could have
why would you
lied.
say
He
no?
could have
Listen,
lied.
I stand by that boy. And you know what? I'm glad he got it off his chest because at the end of the day, they were pressing him. He had to say it. And I think that he handled it very respectfully also. Like he could have been he could have said it in such a horrible way, but I think he handled it gracefully. The people wanted some action from him. He told them, look, and he was having a hard time putting it in words. Like, how do I tell you guys that I don't see as the mother of my children? It's as simple as that, you know? But anyway, going back to Micah though, I think this girl, what she needs to fix is her friend radar, or the thing that this what's the word?
Yeah, because
The
she's got
friend.
bad vibes all around her.
Yeah, she needs to pick a good friend detector because Shelby, right? Okay, I get it that, sometimes you might not like the guy that your friend is dating because you think that she could do better, or you're
Yeah.
seeing certain red flags in the guy. I get that because I've been in situations where I'm like, oh man, like a friend was dating someone who was clearly really, really bad for her. Everyone can see it, right? I get it. But
Mhm.
if my friend was now to get their heart broken, I would not be laughing. You know what I mean? I wouldn't
Yeah,
be laughing. I wouldn't
100%.
be like, oh, I told you. And Shelby was out there laughing, and she came out a villain as well. Eh, so the fact that
Yeah.
she picked Shelby as her friend, and then she also picked Irina as her friend, maybe it's a reflection of who she is at the end of the day. Actually, now that I'm saying it, it's
100% because
not.
she's a bad friend in herself.
Yes, because you cannot pick horrible people and say that you are a sweet person. And also, we saw you laughing at other girls in the past. I think, yeah, all of that is to say, if it's a theme that I'm gonna bring up here, is you have to be careful who your friends are. Like picking good friends is important for you because even when you are going through stuff in your relationship and you need somebody to give you advice, you do need somebody who can give you tough love, yes, but then also somebody who can be in your corner, right? Like at the end of the day, if you're sitting at someone's wedding and you're laughing because this guy walked out on her, are you really in her corner? She didn't even stand out. Like, did you
No.
see the friend? Because honestly, if that happened to my friend, I would stand up right away and like go after my friend. And Shelby
Run
was just sitting there
after.
laughing. She was like, "Oh yeah, no, you know what? Whatever." And I was like, "Okay, this is just horrible." So that's the thing on Micah. Now, on that Micah note, let us now transition into Kwame because clearly this was yet another, I don't know, entanglement where you have this guy, Kwame, who clearly, and oh man, I have so many things to say about Kwame. Let me say this. Prior to the reunion, everything about him irked me. But
Same.
after the
Same.
reunion, like during the reunion, I started seeing a side of him that I hadn't seen. And I do think that he's had a lot of growth in the past year. I think that if there's someone who came and owned up to most of what he did, and I'm saying most because it wasn't all, he owned up to most of
Yeah.
what he did, right? And he apologized to Chelsea, who's his wife, and then apologized to Chelsea's family because now, of course, they were now seeing everything. And I can't even imagine being Kwame and seeing how I was acting, right? Now, the reason why I said he owned up to most of it was because he did not own up to the fact that he actually was madly in love with Micah. He was like, no, of course. By the time that we went our separate ways in the pods, I knew that this was not. No, you did not. We all saw you at the party, how you were acting when this girl said cheers to a failed proposal, and you were so hurt, you were in your feelings. Even when he was having conversations with Brett, when Kwame was having conversations with Brett, he was talking about how like, oh wow, like Micah, man, like you know what I mean. So for you to then now come here and be
Yeah.
like, oh no, it was over. I had written her a breakup note, and actually, I know I was saying Vanessa was biased, but I liked the fact that she was like, well, you can't really say that though, because we clearly all saw that you were so hurt in the pods. Like you were devastated, right? That this girl
Yeah.
had said no. So you can't say all of that. But anyway, what I will say, the good about Kwame that I will say, or maybe a good theme I picked up from it is, man, it's really important to have at least a part of, your significant other's family in your corner, right? Because I'm saying a part of it
Yeah.
because Kwame's mom didn't show up to the wedding, and she's justified in how she'll respond. I think it's a really tough
You
thing for
think so?
parents. I think so. Yeah. I think that this is what I'm gonna say. I think that it's justified for parents to feel like, I'm not gonna support this, right? Because if you're gonna go to your parent and you're gonna be like, I'm marrying someone who I have never seen, I don't know anything about them. We were like talking through a wall. I haven't even seen this person, and now I'm marrying them. That's a lot to put on a parent. So I understand when like a parent doesn't show up. And also I
Yeah.
understand when like the what happened with what's her name? Bliss's dad, right? I mean, of course,
Yeah.
when he was about to walk her down, that timing was just terrible. But I can understand or empathize with how he was responding to Zach, right? Because it's like, here comes this,
Yeah.
you've known your daughter your whole life or her whole life. And here comes this man who you don't know anything about. This man, you're also now finding out that this man actually had picked another girl and your daughter was second choice. Like, it's a lot to put on a parent. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying that
Yeah.
I understand. I won't even shame Kwame's mom for not showing up, because if she didn't support something, I don't see why she had to like go there and pretend. That's one. What I do think though is like it was good that he still had some family there. And I absolutely thought that
Mm.
Kwame's sister was just an angel because, not only did she show up, but she genuinely was so happy, like for like
She
at least
was.
she was bringing positive vibes to Chelsea. And honestly, when she gave that gesture of giving her that Kente purse or whatever, man,
Mm.
like that is so sweet. You know what I mean? Like for a woman who's going
Yeah.
through this whole thing where she's about to marry somebody and the mother's not even there, right? That's giving the family does not want me. And then here comes the sister who's in your corner. So all of that to say, I think it's honestly amazing when you have family in your corner that can family from the other side in your corner, right? That can be there for you. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna say about that.
No, I agree with you there. I looked at it differently, like now. I just feel like and maybe like the editing, like the way in which like they edited Kwame. Like I feel like a lot of it was just like, Chelsea, do you not see like the red flags? But I
hmm
feel like the reunion, he like really redeemed himself with like the apologies and stuff like that. I think that he really redeemed himself, and I now get like the part of it like where like, oh, like his mom didn't show up. Like okay, like I get it. Like yeah, with all of the things that were going on, it seemed like a red flag. But a year later, I feel like okay, like I get it. Like you are just like very cautious of like this thing, and I'm very happy that they're like his family's accepting of her now. I'm happy that he had his sister there. So, I'm really happy that everything worked out for them. I don't really have
hmm
much to say because I really do feel like they wanted like another SK because like they wanted another SK because like SK was like they didn't capitalize enough on like the SK bullshit from last season. But like I feel like they wanted another one and like they wanted to edit it and like they didn't know, like they didn't think that coming into this reunion that this man was gonna be like a changed man.
Right, exactly. No, true.
A
I
whole husband.
100% agree. I think that, of course, the way that they edit stuff, there's a lot that goes into this, right? The way they edit it, the type of music they pick, and also I think that they actually drag out some moments. So, like for example, Chelsea could ask Kwame something, the way they edited could make it seem like he paused for 20 seconds before he said something when in actual fact that might not be what happened. Now I'm not saying that the man is clean, no, I'm not saying that, because he had a lot of
I don't think
wrongs.
so.
He definitely had a lot of wrongs, but you know what, I think at the end of the day I'm glad that it worked out for them. Let's transition to Chelsea, where I'm gonna say I 1,000% agree with you. There were so many red flags, but she was too, and not but she was, and she was too down for this man who was a walking red flag at the end of the day. She was too down for, and I think there is something to be said that, like, man, when there's so many red flags, maybe you have to be like, nah, let's cut the BS, right? Like, let's cut the BS. I'm not sticking for this. I'm leaving. She didn't do that. But on the flip side, too, I think on the positive side, something I picked up from her was the idea of women being unapologetically confident in what they want and confident to say what they
Yeah.
want and to go after what
Yeah.
they want. And she said it at the reunion, right? She was like, I wanted this man and I went for him. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
from if we take it from like you're going after a man who's not toxic, it's a good thing, right? Because I think sometimes, depending on how you were raised, your upbringing, or like, yeah, like for me, for example, I my culture, right? Like culturally speaking, we are not the women who would pursue a man. It's just that's not how it
No.
works where I come from. You know what I
No.
mean? And
No.
even so, I can have feelings for someone, but I would not lay them out the way Chelsea did. I could perhaps
Yeah.
act in a certain way to get you to then say something to me, but I would not be like, I want you, I love you, oh, you and me to the end of the world. When you have not uttered a single, I like you to me. No, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? So I think there was a positive
Yeah.
thing to take from there that, you know what, we do need to be like unapologetically open with what we want as women.
100%. I definitely I look at it very differently now that you say that, which is I feel like it's always good to have somebody else's perspective. Because
Hmm.
like it's very true. Like she was very much like, this is my man, my man, my man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy for her. The editing really did not do this couple any favors because like the whole entire bit, like where she was just like, oh, like he didn't want her to take his last name until like his mom like approved, like whatever, whatever. I mean, now it makes sense. But like when watching it, it was just like, girl, if you don't go and pack your bags and go.
Bro, I was like, woman, run. Please leave this man. Run. Exit stage left. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh my
And I
god.
think that was the biggest surprise for everybody that in the reunion, this couple was still together. Because let me tell you what happened, right? Obviously, and they're so good at how they drop these episodes. Because in the last episode before the rest of the weddings, they only showed us the bit where Chelsea said yes. Let me tell you, I was so sure that Kwame was going to say no that I
Same.
remember I turned on the TV, started playing it, right? I'm doing other things, like walking around in the kitchen, doing some stuff, because I'm so sure that this man is going to say no. Tell me how I hear yes.
Same.
I had to run to the TV and be like, rewind. I was like, Kwame, please. What did you say? Did you say no? Or did
Say
you say
that
yes?
thing
You know
again.
what I mean? Yeah, say it with your chest. So I think after that happened, I was then so sure that in the reunion, these people would not be together. I was so sure, 1000%.
I was
But you
so
know
sure she
what?
would be pregnant. I was so
Oh
sure
my
she would have
God,
had this.
you're so funny. Oh man. No, I'm telling you. But I think actually this is a good segue to get into the last couple, which we kind of like dropped or trickled in with Irina. But Bliss and Zach, right? You know, when we talk about the whole Chelsea thing, Chelsea is someone who, quite frankly, I feel like she put her ego to the side and she just pursued this man relentlessly, right?
Yeah.
Then we look at the whole Bliss and Zach story, where initially Zach had proposed to Irina, and then Irina treats him like crap in Mexico. He comes back and he goes to Bliss, right? I know that there's so many different takes on this. What I saw from it was this guy realized that, you know what, I did have a connection with two people. I have fumbled the bag with this one, but I had a strong connection with the other woman, and I'm going to try and get her. I think it took a lot of like courage to honestly like go back to somebody and be like, hey, I would like us to try if you're willing to do that. So I feel like he put his pride aside. Of course, there's the other side of things where it's like, oh, maybe he just wanted to stay on TV. Or, oh my gosh, like, this woman was a second choice, which Bliss did bring it up that like it's something that she had to work through, right? Of like,
Yeah.
man, am I really going to accept being second best after this man went to Mexico, didn't choose me, right? So I think their story tells me about like how maybe when we just generalize it, I wonder how many couples could have had a good thing going if someone had just let go of their pride, right? Because Bliss had to do some
Yeah.
forgiving because this man had wronged her. He had to be like humbled to come and like ask for forgiveness, right? Or whatever, or like to try again. And so I think from this story, I just learned that, you know what? Maybe sometimes when it comes to love, you have to put your pride aside. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to lower your standards, right? But maybe there is something to be said about second chances, depending on what someone has done. Obviously, there's some things that is like, oh my gosh, this is an abomination. But maybe there's certain
Yeah.
things where we should think about giving people a second chance. But yeah, let me hear your take on them, please.
I feel like there's so much like that was like going on there. I just want to say like one, I want to just like make this disclaimer. I think that one Bliss and Zach are like the dynamic duo. They went on to that reunion. They wanted to tear Irina apart like great, but like she already did a great job of doing that herself. So it's just kind of like wild how like they were just like going like attacking this girl. Like her life already sucks. Like she will never be an influencer. She will probably only sell flat tummy tea. So like I don't know what they wanted from her. But like, okay. I just want to say, like, I think I want to say, like, I feel bad for Zach. Like, he is like the victim in a lot of this, in the sense where, like, that girl, like, Irina came onto the show to be famous. She like fed him some lines here and there. Irina never had a connection with Zach. Zach had a connection with a persona that Irina was putting out. So, like, in reality, I don't really see it as like Bliss. It looks like Bliss was like the second option, but like in reality, like Irina was never an option. She was Bliss was the option to if she ever hears this to make her feel better. But the thing that like to say with this, like he proposed second to her. I think that it's completely different because we've seen this in Love is Blind history before with Iyanna. But the difference with this was that Gerard or whatever the fuck that dude's name was, he
Jared?
only proposed Jared,
God.
he only proposed to her. And I wish he had said no. He only proposed to her because it didn't work out with the other girl. He still wanted to be with the other girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Zach realized Zach, it wasn't that he realized that he fumbled the bag. He realized that, like, I mean, he did fumble the bag because he fumbled Bliss the first time. He realized that he fell in love with someone who didn't exist, with someone who
Mm.
was not a real person. He fell in love with something that like somebody was putting out like a persona that was not true. And he was just like, no, like I still want to give this a chance. I think that if in all honesty, and like I don't know this dude, like I don't know anyone that knows this dude, but I think if the cameras weren't even there, I think he still would have shot his shot with Bliss, and I think he would have married her like off camera.
Oh, I love that.
The producers just provided him, like they just gave him this opportunity to like to marry him. And honestly, like yeah, like Bliss, like obviously she like had to work through like being like, oh, like she was like the second pick, but in reality, like she knows that she was always like the first pick. Like she was always, I mean, she has the man's name, she's gonna have the man's kids. I think that they are meant to like be together. I think that they will end up being like end goal.
Hmm.
I'd be shocked if they got a divorce. But like I think that of the couples that got married this season, I think that they're gonna stay together. I think that
Hmm.
they're gonna stay together. The couples in the other seasons that have gotten divorces, like I wasn't really shocked there. I was kind of like hoping like some of them would stay together just to prove people wrong. But like no, I think that Zach and Bliss, like it's a very unique story. It's a very
Yeah.
lovely story. I think
Hmm.
that he was lied to. He was lied to in so many ways, and like this girl, she did come onto the show to be famous, and she thought that he he she thought, I mean, like everyone to some extent comes onto the show to be famous, but like she thought that Zach was gonna be on the same wavelength as him, and like they were gonna get married, and like they would get divorced, or like whatever. They would just do the thing for like fame. But like she realized that he was there for real love. He wasn't on the same map as her. um she did not want to be with that man. She lied about who she was. And
Hmm.
thank God that she was exposed, and now the man is like happily married. I think that they were pretty wild at the reunion. Like they were just like you came on to be famous, and like they're like yelling at this girl. It's like this girl's
I
life is
think she
miserable
deserves
already.
it.
Like,
No, 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 no. The girl deserved it. And also, actually, I would say I agree with like almost everything you said, except for the part where you said they were coming for her. Like her life is already horrible. The thing is, Bliss actually like held back the whole time. She wasn't trying to say anything. I think the producers then had to say like, "Oh, Bliss, how does this make you feel when you see like all this that's happening to Zach?" Because Bliss hadn't even addressed Irene. I was like, she's not even there. And also, I think that Zach was such an important piece of the reunion because he called people out on their BS. Zach came for Irina because
yeah.
she deserved to be, she deserved that.
When he
She did.
called Micah out,
And
I just thought, oh,
yes, and also I also love the fact that, he came to Paul's defense because Vanessa was pushing this whole Paul thing when I'm like, stop pushing Pete. The problem is Micah. You know what I mean? Like we need to hold people accountable for their actions. And you can't come in here as a host biased about everything, right? Like you can't pick a side. You have to be
yeah,
neutral to the whole thing. So, well, this has been a good time.
absolutely.
So much tea.
So much.
So much. So thank you so much, Wale, for doing this with me. This was so fun.
You're welcome. I had a blast.
Yay. And for everybody who is listening, please, the DMs are open. Please pour into the DMs your thoughts about these couples. What are your guys' thoughts about some of these themes? Is love truly blind, guys? That's what I want to know.
It's
And
not. Goodbye, Michelle.
he's like, after everything, we know that it's not. Anyway, at the end of the day, you know what, guys? At the end of the day, follow your heart and also your mind, and also I think sometimes it helps to do research on people by finding out what other people have to say about them and not just your view of the people. So that's it from us, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you in the next episode. Peace. Ndiwe wandiro ya moyo wangu, ndiwe wandiganganiza fungo zangu.